Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason here, Dude Dimensions, Crystals, and Reiki. And today's report is for December the 10th through December the 16th. Yeah, December the 16th, 2025. And as usual, it's the Star Report. So our closest star is the most important and is the one that affects all of us almost equally, depending on how our body is functioning. And the sun has been active. There was a CME that was a couple days ago, which just started to impact overnight and into this morning. Low level solar storms are possible, and that just means a little bit of internet disruption or slowdown. Sometimes you might have some reboot issues with your technology devices. So pay attention for that to happen. And there is a ginormous sort of looks kind of like a wishbone shape coronal hole that is turning in. It should be Earth facing today in its first half. So it goes like this. So the first half of it is Earth facing today, and we'll get that coronal hole stream over the weekend. And of course, CMEs give us excitement, sort of trigger sometimes autoimmune disorders to flare up. Sometimes anxiety, heart palpitations, or things. And then, of course, the coronal hole is going to cause a compression and a squeeze. So it might feel a little heavier when that energy starts to hit. It will be a double tap by the time the first half's stream is hitting us over the weekend. The second half of the coronal hole will be Earth facing. And then, of course, if you live next to earthquake prone areas, earthquakes are usually in the uptick during those things. Let's see. Also, over the week, they sort of noticed an increase in the Earth's wobble around 2007. So that sort of corresponds with the beginning of the shift of the poles. So if you are looking at the sky and things aren't exactly where they're supposed to be, it's because the wobble is a little bit different or a little bit more intense. It's not a death wobble, so don't worry. But when that sort of happens, the rest of the zodiac is not doing this. It's just the Earth wobbling as it readjusts. So most of the zodiac stuff should still remain the same, even if it looks slightly askew in the sky. So pay attention to that. Now, we are currently, speaking of the zodiac, we're currently in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is going to be our hips and our thighs, right? So our ability to mobilize. It's also the connection with the higher mind, which is where Aries starts, right? And so the alchemical correspondence of the zodiac to the physical form is sort of like how are we going to start executing our spiritual path, our higher mind, all of these things that these retrogrades have been expanding and a spiritually understanding of ourselves. This is really sort of the let's start to act on that kind of stuff. That's why you have the energy in the hips and the thighs, because that's how the body is mobile. And for the most part, that's where lots of us reside, is in our body, but sometimes we're not. Oh, yeah. So Sagittarius is affecting us that way. Currently, we are only in 3 retrogrades because there is a move direct today. And so those retrogrades are Chiron, and Chiron's that tiny little ball. It's usually about expanding our self worth. A lot of people correspond the energy of Chiron to the heart, sometimes called the wounded healer. So that's where all of our lessons that we've taken to heart can sort of make sense, and we can do that. And once we sort of make sense out of the stuff, then we shift from it feels bad to it has made us such and such more. And so that's why it's the expanding of self-worth. Uranus in retrograde is really sort of the reimagining of what this physical form can do, what it was created to do, what are the attributes and how does energy move through it, and just sort of the recognition that we aren't necessarily a solid state. And therefore, we can change quicker than we think. Jupiter also in retrograde. Jupiter, which we all would appreciate right around now, just sort of all the extra spending we're doing during the holidays, gifts, travel, all that fun stuff. Jupiter is about the expansion of mostly everything, but usually starts to be associated with career and abundance. So the way to work with Jupiter when you're feeling less abundant is to sort of express some gratitude for the abundance you do have and allow that flow to happen rather than the constriction, right? Because then you'd be fighting against Jupiter because Jupiter is expansive. So just sort of pay attention to that energy as that retrograde continues, which leads us into today, to today. It leads us into today, which is Wednesday the 10th, and a Neptune moves direct. Neptune's been retrograde since July, so that's sort of an ending of that period. It's really been sort of a spiritual pruning: what beliefs are working, what beliefs aren't, what ways of looking at the world are giving you the best information, not necessarily for figuring out what everybody's doing or what the plan is. It's not about trusting the plan; it's about sort of seeing with your own eyes, and sort of the spiritual pruning of beliefs of what is core. The last thing that spirituality really needs to do is complicate and overburden, right? Because just like I was talking about in the expansion of Jupiter, when we start to think that there's all these things we have to be doing and get away from our core of what we are and what we were created to do, then it gets a little bit hazy. A lot of energy for this direct is really you've gained a spiritual trust for yourself. Um, Not necessarily good for people trying to build communities or that are a part of communities. Because once you sort of have a spiritual self, then you start to measure that against, is this group that I'm engaging with understanding the world the same way? And so sometimes you might feel a little bit of isolation from the spiritual trust in yourself, but it has been growing, and that is um, the spiritual path. All the masters have said that. Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, and whoever, even the ascended masters and the angels and all that kind of stuff, is really about spiritual mastery and expanding the idea of what you are. So now there's only 3 retrogrades, and uh, Neptune is really sort of highlighted where we've been misaligned. And we're moving towards the end of the year, and so this is a universal 9 year, so this is completion, right? So if you felt like it's a never-ending construction job on the self, and that when am I going to be done fixing all this stuff, right? This is a 9 year, so this is completion stuff. So you want to think this is a phase that is ending, and we hit 2026, and that's going to be a 1 universal year. So maybe time to take a breath. That doesn't mean that the world's going to slow down. It just sort of means the beginning of another stage. And so you'll sort of wind up a lot of these things that you've been working on over the last definitely 5 months, if not the entire year. Leads us into tomorrow, December the 11th. The moon and direct Neptune can have you sort of feeling fatigued, right? So this is sort of like when game time's over, and all of a sudden your body has a chance to come down off its highs, off its adrenaline, then you sort of feel like, oh, I'm so tired. So you might be feeling that on Thursday a little bit. Um, Go ahead and rest. It's fine. It's fine. It's all happening. The universe wants to support you in your fatigue. Integration of the year's lessons is a good task, right? So while you're sitting there, sort of just allow yourself to recognize all the change that you did. And just by being in the shop and paying attention to myself, I know I've changed a lot. I know the shop changed a lot, and I know that people that are visiting the shop have been going through extreme changes. So, good job. Um, the thing to sort of pay attention to while you're doing that is not doing it, it's allowing that shift to happen, right? So it's not continuing to work on shifting from the stuff, but allowing that shift to happen to leave that old stuff in the past. So that'd be a good Thursday for you. Moves us into what's after Thursday. I think it might be Friday. Friday the 12th, 12 12, 12 12 power. So like every month, numerology plays a part in the astrology. And so 12 12 is that sort of repetitive number. And 12 12 is really asking you to sort of be present for, right? So it's that sort of same column, be present for your soul upgrades. Authentic self is who you are allowing to come forward, right? So this isn't a created self. This isn't a curated self. This is the authentic self. And then self-describing with that authentic self is actually good. It's not a curation. It's not a mask. It's a revelation. So sort of pay attention to that sort of two-sided coin on that one, especially if you're doing a new job and trying to figure out who you are and how to advertise it and all that fun stuff. That would be energy on Friday. really a lot of the energy of this 12-12 is going to be freeing us from old habits and sort of finding a harmony, right? So that's almost like all the work we've been doing has become a habit now, so it doesn't take effort to do. So this is sort of, hey, I don't need to do a lot of change because these shifts that I've worked on over the year are very effective, and so I can sort of calm down into habit rather than effort. So that'd be good. Moves us into Saturday, the 13th of December, 2025. Will be the peak of the Geminids meteor shower. So the Geminids are obviously in Gemini. Um, if you want to look for it in the sky, look for Castor. It's right next to Castor and Pollux. They're right there in the sky together. Castor and Pollux. So look for Castor in the sky. It should be, I think, northeast. I don't know where. I think northeast is that way. I think I'm looking due south. We'll see. But anyway, northeast sky about 11 p.m. on Saturday should be when it starts to get evident, especially if you're in a dark sky, and should last till around, I think, the peak part or the fun part to do if you want to stay up late and watch a whole bunch of it should be about 2 a.m. And something that's different about this one, which is sort of not necessarily spiritually important, but has a lot of lore around it, is that it's from Phaethon, which is not an asteroid, or excuse me, it's not a meteor, it's an asteroid. And so asteroid that used to be in between Mars and Jupiter. And so some people have a lot of things. There's some ancient mystical stuff that goes on with that, that perhaps that asteroid band was a destroyed planet, right? So therefore it has, artifacts in it. And so when that artifacts comes, it sort of reminds us of our ancient past. So by all means, if that triggers some ancient realizations of your time here on the planet, and then the nature of the human group that you are a part of, then that would be cool. Vivid dreams, of course, when meteors happen, is par for the course. It's that off-world energy that sort of comes in and breaks up reality because it's coming from outside of our construct. So pay attention to that energy. Blah, 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 blah. Sometimes you could be sleepless during it. It's okay. Moves us into Sunday, the 14th of December still. I haven't changed months. Sagittarius stellium. All right, so we're in Sagittarius, and the stellium means that there's four bodies that are in the sign that cause it to sort of raise the vibration or the intensity of that energy, right? So the hips and thighs thing might be whatever, and then right after a meteor shower, the higher mind thing. What? It's like the universe prepares us and then does what it prepares us to do. So the four signs, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars will be in the sign. Truth, higher wisdom are available, which could speak to motivation and be felt. A lot of triggering in this one is going to be in the solar plexus, right? So it's where that inner fire happens. And so when you're obviously when your furnace is going, then you have energy, you have power, you have decision making skills. You also have rule making skills, right? So you can sort of put on bumper guards. What you might be understanding during that energy or during this energy would be a refinement of what your purpose is. And it's not a grand purpose that we all have, but just sort of like your individual purpose. So pay attention to that energy. That'd be good Sunday. Monday the 15th will mark 17 days to the new year. Mars begins streaming in a bunch of discipline, right? Oh my God, I'm getting ready for the new year. I'm going to make some resolutions. I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to build some habits. So the energy of Mars is going to be good for that. Anxiety lowers as Mars lets us know that we're on the right path and that we're on time, right? So we haven't missed the boat. We're not late. People aren't ahead of us, right? We are waking up in the order. If you think it's a grand orchestra of consciousness, then it's, here it's almost like popcorn, right? And so as you're expanding, you're right on time. You weren't the kernel that got left unpopped. So pay attention to that energy. 2026 is going to be the beginning of a new cycle. We're in the 9-year. The sort of coaching on that is act on plans, don't plan more, right? So it's not like saying don't add things to your plate. It's just sort of saying don't go, oh, look, I'm done planning with this. I'll plan some more because it's the beginning. I'm actually act on the things that you planned on is kind of the instruction for Monday, which, oh, great, thanks, it's a Monday. all the energy I have to go back to work and do my things. And you want me to what? But it's the way it works, right? Tuesday, the 16th of December. The sun's going to be aligning with Jupiter, which we noticed was in retrograde. And really, it's going to sort of focus on what abundance means to you, right? A lot of times we have the understanding in the spiritual world and the understanding in the cultural world that it's, spiritual community for the spiritual world or a big bank account for the cultural world. And so, really, you're going to be refining not necessarily how you relate to those big bullet points of the grander scale, or what is abundance to you, right? Is it having enough? Are you happy with enough? Is it you have enough to eat and not worry about it? Is it you have enough to take any vacation and not really think or plan too hard for it? What does abundance look like? Maybe it just means having like 5 people in your life that get you. That's abundance. Um, blah blah blah. Oh, um, uh, really, this is sort of a shifting of from the mind taking a lead to the soul, or the energy or the light, because we are in a solar system, which is why our sun is named Sol, and it is solar. Anyway, fun stuff there. New ways. Uh, new ways. Oh yeah, I'm gonna read what I wrote there. That seems weird. New ways are gonna have you feeling pause as you learn what your soul has in store is different than you planned. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So I was like, what am I saying there? Uh, so it's this sort of pause, like, oh, like abundance to me really is different, and your soul had a different plan. And so a lot of us were instructed or worked so many times, and that's why we sort of get stuck that way. I'm 49, so I put in 49 years believing this. I can't believe the next thing. So this is sort of the pause, like take a pause. You didn't waste your time. It took you that long, or the universe had it aligned so that you will figure out this way, right? And so it's almost like if people are rowing the boat, then all of a sudden it's your turn to hold the oars, right? So it's your turn to paddle. So don't look at it as a missed out kind of thing. Look at it as, oh my goodness, the plan has changed, and now I can take charge. I can help expand, all that fun stuff. That's the end of the report. Of course, I should be here all week. Um, it starts to get a little hazy next week, but I'll be here for the report nonetheless on next Wednesday to talk about what I think I'm going to do and what I'm going to do for holiday hours. Probably be mostly closed between Christmas Eve and New Year, day after New Year. So I'll look out for that next week. But I should be here Wednesday through Saturday this week, 11 to 5, if you need to come by and get anything. Yeah, that's the stuff. Of course, there are some things that are back ordered that are not in stock, but I have most of the necessities and a couple of cool things left over from when I went to the rock show in September. And then I just got in an order of a resupply of some candles, incenses, and bracelets. So yeah, if you're looking for tiny gifts, stocking stuffers, or you just want to come in and talk to Jason, that's all right too. And then of course, I think I have everything blocked off on the calendar. So if you want to book and it's open for a session, that is also available. I think that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to get off. I'm going to get off the phone. I'm going to say goodbye. That's it for this week's Star Report. Until next time, everybody, many blessings.